What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today we're back with another of the rated games held here at Chess Zone. And today I was paired up against an individual named Ty Dangerfield, and I've played him I think once or twice in the past, but that was when he was significantly lower rated, around 15 or 1600. So he's obviously picked up quite a bit of rating since then, and has likely improved a lot as well. So let's go ahead and find out to see how my experience playing against him today differed from when I played against him back when he was around 15 or 1600. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. Ty here opens the game with g3, and this isn't a move that I think I've ever seen officially over the board. Usually people play e4 or d4 or knight f3, but g3 is more reserved approach to the opening, trying to be a bit more reserved, and he's trying to probably play some sort of King's Indian, I imagine. So I just go ahead and strike at the center with d5, bishop g2, knight f6, d3, e5, I'm just seizing the center while I can, knight f3, knight c6, defending the pawn, a3, which is a bit of a dubious move. I was expecting maybe castling or knight b to d2, but a3 is perfectly logical. He's trying to prepare b4, which b4, surprisingly, is considered a mistake according to Stockfish, and you might wonder why, because b4 has the very obvious point of playing b5 to try to attack my knight and force it to a less optimal spot. And the reason why b4 is wrong is because apparently I can play this move e4, gain some space in the center really early on, force white to essentially trade, and then after I take back like this, white would have to retreat here. And then a very common motif here is that oftentimes one can sacrifice the e-pawn like this, and and then the f-pawn would take, and then even though you sacrificed a pawn, you sort of messed up white's pawn structure, and you often in these types of positions have a big advantage going out of the opening. So I didn't do that, though. I was sort of, anticipating b5, so I wanted to prevent it, and I went a6 instead. Here, Ty played the move bishop to b2, and I again can play the move e4, although it's not nearly as good as the first time, but my move castling isn't a bad move at all. And these first inaccuracies aren't really that significant, because let's be honest, minus 0.3 and plus 0.2 are basically the same at a non-Stockfish level. It only gets granular when you analyze at a top level. So after castles, Ty does the same, and I go ahead and play rook e8, just bringing my rook to the center and preparing to develop the rest of my army. Ty here plays the move c4, and I decide to trade, and then play the move e4 now, which wasn't the ideal time to play it, but hey, it's still the best move. I'm not going to complain. And Ty here spends a few minutes here, and after playing knight to d4, which is the best place for his knight to go, he has 53 minutes, and after maybe a minute or two of thought, I decide to trade knights with him in the center. Now, I was expecting... Actually, I was probably expecting him to play queen takes d4 to try to set up a battery here, and potentially, eye at this g7 pawn, but instead he plays bishop takes d4, which I didn't think was as natural of a move, but both captures are pretty much equivalent in terms of how good they are. So after bishop takes d4, he's wanting to play the move c5 to attack my bishop and force it back. And so I solve that problem by playing queen e7. And my idea here is to play bishop e5 and trade off his powerful bishop on d4. And that's exactly what happens. He plays knight c3, and I have the idea of playing bishop e5, and we get a trade in the center. And so far, both of us have been playing pretty well, except the part of me missing e4 on move 6, but we're not going to really count that towards how well we played overall. So after queen takes e5, I'm attacking his knight, and he decides to defend it with rook c1. Next, I play the move bishop e6, attacking his c-pawn right here, and I was actually expecting him to maybe push it forward, which isn't the greatest move, but it's not horrible. He instead plays this move knight a4, which was not the way I was expecting him to address my threat. I mean, he does defend the pawn. The rook is not defending the pawn because the knight's in the way, but I can just bring my rook to the center and hit his queen, and Ty played the move queen to c2. And here, I can play this move e3, which is the best move, and essentially I'm forcing him to take my pawn. Well, that's not the best move, but if he were to take, it's going to lead to catastrophe, because after king h1, I can hop my knight into g4 and threaten knight f2 already, so I'm just going to be weakening his king. So after queen to c2, I play the move b6. I was sort of worried about knight c5 happening. Here he plays the move c5, and I don't want to take him because, I'm just helping his queen get out. My pawn is weak, and I'm just letting white have a very pleasant position and opening his army. So instead I keep things shut and play the move b5 and attack his knight, and he retreats to c3. And here's a moment where I just have a moment of blindness. I just completely overlook something super obvious in a classical game. He has 3 attackers on my pawn on e4, and I only have 2 defenders. So a logical thing to do would be to defend the pawn with a move like bishop to f5 or bishop to d5 even. But for some reason that didn't cross my mind, and I instead play the move c6, which completely hangs the pawn for absolutely no reason. And that is just a brain fart on my end. And I have basically just handed white the advantage for free. And Ty sees it. He plays knight takes e4, and he's up a clean pawn and having a great position against me. So I try to fight back throughout basically the whole game, down a pawn. So I play the move bishop to f5, and I essentially force him to take on f6, and I attack his queen, and he decides to play the move e4. And e4 is a great move because he wins tempo on my bishop and gains space in the center. Now, I spent a few minutes about where should my bishop go. I didn't play the move bishop e6, which was the first move I was considering, because I noticed white can play this move e5, and e5 is a very great move for white. It's because he attacks my queen, but more importantly, the bishop opens up and attacks the pawn on c6, which is a crucial pawn in my structure. If I were to lose it, then all of a sudden white has a passed c-pawn, my rook's hit, and the base of my pawn chain has disintegrated, and white can soon play bishop b7 and attack the a-pawn, and everything is just going to fall apart very soon. So I absolutely cannot lose the c-pawn. It's a crucial pawn in my structure. So if bishop e6, that was what would have happened. And e5, there's nowhere I can move my queen to defend the c-pawn. So I end up playing bishop to g6 to keep the pawn on e4 pinned, because my bishop is lined up with his queen on c2. He plays rook c to d1, which is one of the best moves, and I play queen e7. I'm adding a third attacker on his pawn, so if he does a random move, let's say, I'm thinking about just trading rooks maybe and playing bishop e4, although I don't think now is the time to do it, but it was sort of an idea I had in mind. He instead plays the move f3 to keep his pawn extra solid, which isn't the greatest move, and here I play the move f6, looking to move my bishop to f7 and maybe c4 and just reroute it to a better square. Here, Ty plays the move rook f2, and he's preparing to bring this rook to d2 and have challenge my rook on d8 and bring it to a more active square. So after rook f2, I decide to trade rooks on d1, and after queen takes d1, Ty has 32 minutes, and after me playing the move f5 to sort of, eliminate his e-pawn, I have 35 minutes. Now, you guys might be wondering, why did I play f6 to play f5? And the answer to that would be that, you know, I didn't really, I guess I could have moved my bishop here, but, you know, white has this move f4, and I don't like how the e and f pawns could advance down the board together. And I thought f5 would sort of, break up the pawns. I don't know if that if that reasoning totally makes sense to you guys, but I felt like f5 is a good way to challenge the center. So I guess f6 was sort of redundant by playing f5 now. In any case, after f5, Ty decides to play e takes f5. One of the best moves he could have played was queen to d6, and I was actually looking at that. And the thing with queen to d6 is that I'm kind of have to take, because if I don't take, if I go queen b7 and avoid the trade, then he has a passed e-pawn, and things are looking very grim for me. He's going to play f4 and have a connect 4 pawn chain. It's just going to be all over for me. So I'm essentially forced to take, and after he takes back, let's say I take, then he takes back, and he has the e and d pawns rolling down the board. This is just basically resignable at that point. So queen d6 would have been a very good move for him, but he instead plays e takes f5. And after I take back, Ty plays the move queen to b3 check. Kind of a futile check. It doesn't accomplish anything. The engine is wacky. It says king f8 is the best place to move the king. Any sane human would move it to the corner, or even block with the bishop, which is what I did, but I don't think anyone would play king f8 there. If I surveyed 10 people at Chess Zone, I don't know how many would say king f8. I'm expecting a very low number. But anyway, bishop e6, I attack his queen. He plays queen e3, and he's preparing to go rook e2 next, so I get out of the line of fire and play queen to d7, and maybe move the bishop to discover attack his queen. So after queen to d7 here, he plays the move rook to d2, and my whole idea was to play this move bishop to d5, cement that bishop on d5, block the attack on my queen, and also at the same time attack his queen on e3. So that's a multi-purpose move right there, bishop to d5. Ty decides to retreat to f2 with his queen, and I play the move queen f5, looking to check on the b1 square. Here, Ty plays the move h3, and he's looking to create a luff for his king in the case I were to check, which I do, and Ty moves the king to h2. Now you'll notice that Ty's advantage has slipped out of his hands. It's an equal position, but as you may recall that he was around +2 a few moves back, so he's definitely all going back to this queen b3 check move. That was a completely unnecessary move, and it did not accomplish anything. So by playing that, he's let his advantage slip a great deal. And at king h2, Ty has 20 minutes. And here I play the move queen to b3, attacking his a-pawn, and after that I have 26 minutes on the clock. Ty here plays the move rook e2, which is a very clever move, I have to say, even though it's not best. It's because, in my mind, I was saying, okay, if I trade rooks with him, I can't take on the a-pawn because queen e8 is mate. So I was in my mind saying, okay, I have to first deal with his checkmate threat by playing a move like king f8. But what I guess didn't think about was that the a-pawn isn't going anywhere. I'm guaranteed to capture it. White can't really defend it in any way. So I didn't have to worry about being down a pawn or simplifying into a losing endgame or anything. That a-pawn is guaranteed for me to win. So I would have no problem there, and this would be a basically totally drawn variation that I could have went into. So the best move was for me to trade rooks on e2, but I instead played the move rook f8 because I'm like, okay, I'm down a pawn. I kind of want to avoid trades, and I'm also hitting his f-pawn 3 times. So after rook f8, Ty plays the move rook e3, very excellent move. He's attacking my queen and also defending his f-pawn again. I play queen c4. He plays queen e1, trying to build a battery on the e-file. I play queen a2, and I'm sort of gluing the rook to e3 because I have some bishop f3 threats in the future. I also have eyes on the a3 pawn, so yeah, it's just a sort of annoying move for him. So he plays the move queen c3, and which I thought was a great move because after I play h6 to give my king some left, I didn't really see what else I could do. He brings his rook down to e7, and he's threatening a checkmate on g7. And I figure out which way is the best to defend, either to play rook f7, which is what I play in the game, or to go rook f6 to block the queen seeing g7. Both are fine, but rook f6 is slightly better, but rook f7 isn't bad either. And rook f7, he plays a rook e8 check, and there's only one good way to get out of check, either blocking with the rook or moving the king to h7. Moving the king to h7 is a very bad move because you're allowing queen to d3 check, forcing g6, and after queen to d4, you're already being threatened with mate. You have to cover with rook to g7. White can have all sorts of fun by playing queen f6 with ideas of queen f8, queen h8, and maybe even at some point playing h4, h5, and trying to attack the pawn on g6 at some point. So you're actually in a lot of trouble here. So I correctly play the move rook f8, and I'm fine with him going back because I'll go back, and I'm fine with the repetition, honestly, because I'm down a pawn, right? So after rook f8, Ty decides to trade rooks, and even though he's still up a pawn, this is basically a totally drawn position. So he plays the move queen e3. I play queen b2. I'm just sort of waiting. I can't really make any progress, and neither can he. He plays h4, queen a2. Apparently waiting wasn't the right approach here. I shouldn't have waited. I should have played this move h5, apparently. And I guess prevent g4, because if g4 were to happen, I could take this pawn, and he can't take back because of a checkmate on g2. So queen a2 allows the move g4, and he's going to move his king to g3 and unpin his bishop and get active. So that was why h5 apparently was the best move. So he plays g4. I keep waiting with queen b2. He plays g5. I trade. And here I play this move queen to c2. I'm trying to maybe eye a check on h7, but he simply plays queen f4 check. I move to g8, and then he just plays the very logical move king to g3 and unpins his bishop, and is preparing to maybe move it to h3, where it can maybe attack the pawn on a6 via c8. So he's just sort of unraveling here and getting and uncoiling, and my pressure on him is slowly decreasing. So after king to g3, I play the move queen dd3 to attack his a pawn, but he totally ignores it and goes on the offensive and plays the move bishop to h3. And I scanned for a minute or two about whether taking the a pawn's worth it. It's not worth it, in fact, because if queen takes a3, White has this nasty move, bishop e6. This isn't the only winning move, but this is certainly the fastest way to win. Bishop e6 is totally a bot move. I don't really think a human would play this. It's a very disgusting move. The point is that after I take his free bishop, he just plays this move g6. And even though I'm up a bishop, I can't prevent queen b8 checkmate from happening. And if I play like bishop c8 here, he can just play queen f7. That's the other threat he had. So I'm just totally toast in this position if I would have taken the a pawn. So seeing that, I play the move queen to g6. And earlier, let's just say I play a random move. He's threatening queen b8 check, and then bishop f5. And I didn't want the bishop to attack my king, so I play queen g6. So after bishop f5, I play queen e8 to guard the back rank. And after queen e8, he plays this move g6, and as you can see by the eval bar, I'm just totally lost here. It's +7, and I didn't think it was +7. I knew it was worse, but I didn't think it would be this much. So, yeah, and also at this point, we were both at low time. At queen f4 check, which was on move 46, Ty had 9 minutes, and at king g8, I had 14 minutes. So we're both approaching low time. So after g6, I play queen e1 check. Ty with 6 minutes plays the move king h3. I with 10 minutes play the move queen h1 check. And he plays the move king to g4. And here I play the move queen to g2 check. And here he has an important decision to make. He has to get out of check the right way. Obviously, king h5 is horrendous because you just dropped this pawn entirely and you're no longer winning. But his move, queen to g3, is no better. Although it looks like he's forcing a trade, what happens is that I can play this move bishop takes f3, and he can't take my bishop because his queen's pinned to his king. See, the engine won't let me play that. So I recovered my pawn essentially, and now the material is even. What he should have done is played the move king h4, sorry, and mate on b8 is still threatened, so I can't take on f3. And if I keep the checks going, then he's supposed to run to g5. And if I check here, he covers with his bishop. And if I check like this, then he's still threatening queen b8 mate, so I have to trade queens. And this bishop endgame is totally lost for me because there's no way I can prevent bishop c8 and bishop takes a6 with a totally winning endgame. And it's basically all over. So he blunders with queen g3 under low pressure, under time pressure, allowing me to go bishop takes f3. And king f4, I'm forced to trade queens here, and I move my bishop to d5. So after all the dust settled, it's just in a bishop endgame with equal pawns for both players, and all pawns are on the same side. The only thing I have to worry about is that bishop c8 is unstoppable. So he can play bishop c8 anytime he wants and grab this a pawn, and there's no way I can prevent it. But even though he has that option, it's still a draw. And I have to find this move king f8, which I do, and then king e7 to prevent his king from advancing. And only now he decides to go bishop c8. And I was sort of panicked. I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose that a pawn. Am I still losing after all this? Because I thought I equalized, but he's going to win my a pawn. But it's actually still a draw because I play this move bishop to b3. He grabs my a pawn, but all of a sudden his g pawn can't be defended. He can't play king f5 because of my bishop, so it's essentially tit for tat. He'll win my a pawn, but I'll win his g pawn. So after bishop takes g6, he plays bishop c8. I grab his pawn. He plays bishop g4, bishop e8. Just did a random move. We each had a few minutes here. Bishop d1, bishop d7, a4. And after the trade, I offered him a draw, and he was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to a draw. And yeah, we escaped at the skin of our teeth. We were totally losing, but we ended up getting a draw. So yeah, I can see that maybe that he definitely has improved since last time, and we got lucky because we hung a pawn for no reason, but we still ended up saving the draw and getting the half point. And to show you guys the accuracy, it was pretty even. Ty had an accuracy of 85.6. I had an accuracy of 85 on the dot. And as you can see by the eval graph, White had a steady advantage for most of the game here until he blundered bishop takes f3 check, in which case it went back to being even Steven. So yeah, this was a stressful game, but we ended up getting the result we were trying to fight for. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you guys for watching. If you like content like this, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of the video. And yeah, have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.